Qualifying one was alright, but with a start on medium tyres to not waste the soft tyres, I was pretty much last place. So I ran again on the softs and placed me P9, 0.825 seconds off Verstappen in first place. However, I had the fastest first sector, so the pace was there if I had not put on 30 rear wing. Original preset said 20. I left it at the end for the end. I left it for the end of qualifying 1 and managed to proceed into Q2 in 10th place. In qualifying 2, I was a little worried about the need for soft tyres, so I again used mediums in order to set a banker lap, and it placed me P11, 0.903 seconds off George Russell. So a second lap was definitely needed. I did improve by 0.3, however, it landed me P12 after everyone's lap, so I did not get into Q3. For the first time ever in Project Ultimate F1 AI on pure pace alone. However, this pace deficit was found to be in Sector 2 and Sector 3. I believe the 10 extra clicks on the rear wing did not help at all. I believed 25 on the rear wing in the wet during the race would not have been good at the beginning of qualifying. When I was confirming the setup, I thought 25 would be too unstable in the wet. So I greatly sacrificed straight line speed for the wet weather stability. Anyway, let's go to the race. Here we are in Canada, Montreal. I said Montreal, Canada, for the Canadian Grand Prix of 2022. Canada is quite a hefty street circuit, and in the wet, which is forecasted for today, it could be even more difficult for the drivers. So the track map is as follows: 14 turns, 4.361 kilometer circuit, 3 DRS zones, only 2 DRS detection points, and a very little elevation change to tackle the drivers in today's race. So this is how today's drivers line up for today's race. On pole position we have Max Verstappen alongside here Charles Leclerc, is a 2021 championship rival up until the French Grand Prix. Payne. Alongside in row 2 we have the McLarens, and then Ocon and Magnussen, Schwartzman, Ocon's teammate, and Perez in P8. P9 we have the Williams alongside Schumacher in the Haas. Albon, Hamilton, Zhou and Russell fell out of the top 14. Yuki Tsunoda and Lance Stroll 15th and 16th. Vettel in the Ferrari down in 17th. Bottas in the Alfa Romeo, and Carlos Sainz rounds off the grid with another ex-Red Bull driver, Pierre Gasly. So here we are on today's grid. Wet weather could be an interesting one for today's drivers, as it's forecasted, and we all know how tricky wet conditions can be. Just look back to Australia and not Miami, Imola this season. Williams driver here, not doing so well in those wet conditions, so let's see who will excel today. So here we are as we get ready for the 5 red lights to come on. They are on, and they go out, and it's a good start from Charles Leclerc in P2, pulling alongside Max Verstappen. Can he take the lead? Looks like they're going to be 3 wide into turn 1 as Lando Norris takes the lead as the Williams driver there goes around the outside of Kevin Magnussen up into P8 after already overtaking Sergio Perez for P8 actually. Sorry, Magnussen keeping P7 at the moment, who tries to go around the outside of Schwartzman as Perez tries to take advantage and get back past the Williams driver. This does not happen, and round the outside through turn 6 must have gone the Williams driver on Kevin Magnussen, as he is now up into P7 behind the 2 Alpine drivers, as Lando Norris takes the lead, and already Max Verstappen, the top 2 drivers are 1 second above Daniel Ricciardo in 3rd place. But down towards the hairpin we go. The Williams driver has lost some time as Magnussen looks to go down the inside of the hairpin. He does. Round the outside, the Williams driver is going to hang on his mediums. Does he do it? Yes, he does. And down the long straight. This is not a good place for the 30 rear wing setup we believe to be on the Williams driver. Most of the AI will have 20 due to the preset. Down onto lap 2 then, the Williams driver following the Alpines as we head to lap 3 now. DRS will be enabled as Lando Norris is 2 seconds clear of Max Verstappen in the Red Bull now, and Sergio Perez falling down the order in P10 behind Zhou Guanyu. 2 Mercedes drivers in P12 and P14 sandwiching the Aston Martin of Albon as the Williams driver looks to make a move on Schwartzman now. Where's he going to go? There's room on the outside, but no, he goes for the room that opens up on the inside. Not much of an overlap as they go into the final chicane, and there we go. Schwartzman backs out in the rookie as a rookie in the Alpine, does not want to create too much damage, but the Williams driver obviously risking it, knowing that they can get higher. Next up on his hit list will be Ocon, Schwartzman's teammate. The Alpines are doing alright this season. I believe they've got some solid points, and I don't actually know. As we go on board the 360 cam, on board the Williams, not actually 360 though, we can't swivel it round, but what we can do is swivel around the table as we go towards the final chicane again. This time the Williams driver goes for the space on the outside as we switch to a better camera angle. Side by side they were almost going into that final chicane, but Ocon backs out as he was not alongside enough to be warranted space through the chicane. As next up on his hit list would be Charles Leclerc. Lap 14 now. Things are starting to calm down a bit as we go through, as we get to a fifth of the way through the Grand Prix. As surprisingly, the Williams driver doing really well on the straights, possibly using up all of his ERS, and so hence it's lap 14 now, and there's been no change whatsoever for the top 9 as Sergio Perez is falling down the order as we got yellow flags, and it looks like it's going to be the other Red Bull driver that is dropping down the order. Max Verstappen is going to be out of this Grand Prix with a massive engine failure as yes, he pulls over to the side of the circuit at turn 1 and he will be out of the Grand Prix. That's such a disappointing result as he was running P2 at the time and could have been on for some massive points in the championship. Now he could be losing out to Charles Leclerc in the championship tally. Sebastian Vettel if he gets a good result, which is unlikely. But the rain comes as it is beginning to rain there. You can see the drops on the halo of the Williams car as going into the Vettel chicane. I like to nickname as the Williams driver goes wide. This unlike a spin, but Ocon getting over the curb. Is he going to be able to try and overtake the Williams driver? Maybe getting on the curb is going to hinder his progress going into the next chicane. They're side by side, but the Williams driver cuts the corner on the second part of the chicane, but is already ahead of the Alpine, and so will be able to keep his position. But they must pit now. As we go into the hairpin, the Alpine drivers look to go side by side, but Schwartzman losing out there and drops behind Magnussen in the pit stops. As we head to lap 32 now, the Alpine team actually just checked in the Constructors, actually behind the Williams team. So not having the best of the season so far. I'm sure they would dearly love to challenge McLaren. And P6, P5 and 7 are going to be some good solid points, but with McLaren P1 and 3, I highly unlikely for that to happen as Ocon goes for a 360 spin. Is he still in this race? Yes, he is. There he is. Continuing on and staying in P5. What a spin! As we go on to lap 33 now. It will be 33, trust me. Told you. As we go, following on board Schwartzman then. Losing out to Magnussen in the pit stops. Not the best of strategies there from the Alpines. I believe they possibly hung him out to dry, or hung him out to soak, actually, and so pitted him after Ocon because Ocon got preferential treatment as he was ahead of the lead Alpine car. As we go through turn 4, 3 and 4 now, turn 5, there looks to be yellow flags, and it's for Schwartzman as he's going slowly, and he looks like he's going to be retiring out of this race. Is he going to pull over to the side of the circuit? Yes, he is, onto the middle of the, just before the apex of turn 6. He pulls over and retires from the Grand Prix. It's wet weather, so it's quite a tricky spot. I'd say better than Verstappen's spot, but on the dash we can see a green positive 14, so I believe that is going to be a safety car. And looking on the timing screens, yes, it is a safety car for Schwartzman. Surprised we got a safety car for him, but not for Max. Max, I'd say, was in a trickier spot as he was at the end of turn 1. Like directly in front of the brake zone, whereas here Schwartzman was just off to the side of the circuit. As lap 35, 2 laps after the safety car is deployed, the Williams driver of Winter, I hate doing that still, pulls up to the back of the safety car queue, and now 1 or 2 more laps before the safety car comes in. But what is that? It's the Williams driver. He's crashed out of the race, and he looks to have driven straight into the back of Ricciardo. As we go for an onboard now, going through turn 2, a very quick onboard from the FIA here. It's almost like we're not the FIA. Wink, wink. Going into turn 3, he just runs into. Here we go again. After penalties, the start at P9. The formation lap was okay, and the tyre temperatures were alright for the beginning of the race. The grid slot was a purple after a new tactic to pull into the grid slot, and it worked. Go around 10 to 20 miles per hour, and once the colour becomes purple, completely stop. The start was poor, however, as I dropped behind Mick at the beginning, but through turn 1 and 2, I pulled alongside Perez and round the outside of Magnussen. Then another AI defense to attack dive bomb went side by side with Schwartzman, and it allowed Perez to pull alongside me. I just realised that doesn't make sense, but it was Kevin that pulled alongside Schwartzman. But the way I placed my car on the track flows, Kevin and Sergio backed out, and I dive bombed Kevin into turn 6 to put myself into P7. I knew that I'd fall in the straight and into the hairpin. This was evident as Magnussen tried to move on me. I managed to accelerate ahead of him though and keep P7. It says accelerate ahead of me, which doesn't make sense. On lap 3 with DRS, I was able to keep with the front running pack, and out of the hairpin I pulled to the inside of Schwartzman and overtook him into the final chicane. Lap 6 I managed to gain back to Ocon and out of the hairpin again, and with a ton of DRS I made a move on the outside of the chicane. Lap 13 I got back up to the front runners again, and I was handed 4th place with Max ahead, retiring from the race on lap 14. After this, the race calmed for a while whilst the weather deteriorated and we all pit on lap 21 after the FIA disabled the DRS on lap 20. I panicked into the final chicane, but eventually decided to follow Ricciardo and Leclerc and not pit on lap 20. I made it worse after a mistake when I went deep into turn 6, 7 chicane and had to defend from the Alpine behind. Into the pits we went at the end of the lap and managed to hold up the 2 in front, minimising the damage caused by my mistakes. Lap Now on lap 32, Ocon made a hefty mistake out of turn 8, losing the rear but turning it into a nice 360 spin. On lap 33, his teammate was not so lucky, and his car gave up, and he retired from the race, causing a safety car. Then for the next lap, I could not catch the safety car, but on lap 35, I caught them, and then ended my race. This was a crash into the back of Ricciardo after I paid more attention to the safety car driving through the chicane instead of looking for Ricciardo and my braking point. In the end, it meant I retired very stupidly and ended what was looking to be an amazing race starting from P9. I could have got past Ricciardo, but as the race seemingly dried up, and so we could have had a great race and finished B3. But I do not think I could have got past Leclerc and Norris, as Norris dropped the pack in the dry, and Norris and Leclerc finished within DRS of each other, 14 seconds ahead of Vettel, who overtook Ricciardo for third. I think the only reason we could keep up with Leclerc was Ricciardo was holding him up in second place. Once again, another mistake. Once again, another good result thrown away. Once again, another disappointing day.